that she was killed. It was a tremendous loss. She was just a wonderful person, and it was an only child besides. And she was just an outstanding, she would have been a success in life, or whatever that might have been, but good Lord took her early, and that was unfortunate. The other girl I want to talk about is Jeannie Reed, and I will save that till later on in the presentation here. My dad was very conservative. I think sometimes he looked at me as a rebel. I really do. I think something about the Chamber of Commerce was going to start a retail division, Chamber of Commerce. And I went to the first meeting representing the drugstore, and I said to all the people there, I said, why don't we have a sidewalk sale? Bring everything out to the sidewalk, put special prices on it, really, you know, and we had a lot of retail stores in town. If I have time at the end, I'll read all those stories. And they agreed. I went back and told my dad, he said, oh my God, we gotta lug it. I said, no, you don't have to lug that stuff. I'll lug it up, you know, I'll get it out there. Well, in between thinking of doing this, I made some themes up. Somebody had an old boat in their house. I made a pirate boat out of it, so everybody dressed as pirates. So he comes to the store and he's looking like, oh my God. Well, that wasn't the worst of it. The one year I made a Hawaiian theme there. And I called Ward Oil coming to bring down a load of sand. And I threw it all over the sidewalk in the front after I got everything up there. And I'm quoting my dad as he walked up, what the hell is this all about? You know? And yeah, a few other swear words came out. Don't worry about it, I'll clean it all up at the end. Oh my God. Well, at the end we told everybody we were going to have a hula dance, two of the high school girls were going to do it, and we had a decent crowd out there doing it, and it was fun. And after that was over, I started taking the stuff down the cellar and putting it on the shelves. I was down there quite some time, and I come up, and who do I see out in the front payment collecting sand and putting it in all kinds of buckets? My dad. I said, what are you going to do with that? He said, it's good for my garden. I'm taking it all over there. I said, well, I guess that sand wasn't too bad then, you know. But he had some doubts about me, and I really threw the bananas out. One time we got a magazine in the church, in the store. And I look in there, and some place out in Omaha, Nebraska, had a delivery truck, and they put painted pills all over the truck. And we had this little Corvair delivery car. We did a lot of delivering. I said to Dad, I think we're going to paint pills all over the car. And he said, you're off your gourds, but not going to do that. I said, no, you know, people will talk, they know we delivered it, you know, and it's, you know, it's not going to be in bad taste. Take it out to Mr. Basak was a printer in town, a painter in town. Took it out, I took some pictures of pills up there. He put them all over the car and across the room. Yeah, we got it. I think by that time my dad was ready to retire. I'm going to tell you a story now which I don't understand, but I'm going to tell it to you because it fits right in as we're going through here now. I should tell you first of all that my wife and I were unable to have children. We adopted 2 children. And it was Christmas Eve, and both of the boys that we adopted were of Santa Claus age. And so we put them to bed, and we said, don't you get out of your bedrooms until Mom and Dad are up and we'll go to the living room with, you know, see what Santa Claus brought. 3:45 in the morning, I jumped out of bed. I mean, literally jumped out of bed. And I jumped so hard and so fast, and they said, what's the matter? I said, the drugstore is on fire. Believe me, I didn't get those words out of my mouth, the phone rings. The drugstore is on fire. Come down right away. It was Velma Wirebach, who was at the lock up the street. Oh my God. You know, in a situation like that, you can't get dressed fast enough. I don't care. You know, the pants won't go up quick enough, your shirt won't go on. And I went out. My car was on the outside, frost in the windshield, whipped down Easton Road. If anybody had been walking across Easton Road, they wouldn't be walking anymore. But I turned right to come down Chestnut Street. And it's nice to say, but if all of you were in the same position I was in, when I got to the bottom of Chestnut Street, I saw it wasn't the drugstore, it was Pox Hotel that was on fire. And the wind was blowing all towards the drugstore. I mean, the cinders and the flames were going shooting that way. I called my dad right away, and he lived over in the country here, and he could see the red flames in the sky. And he came over. Unfortunately, we lost our electricity. I opened up the drugstore. I think at one time we had 6 firemen laying on the floor in the drugstore in different aisles, you know, because it was cold that night too, and which made it even worse. And some woman, I still don't know, lived a block or so up the street from the store, came down with a pot full, a whole kettle full of hot water. You know, that's hard to carry, you know, and she carried it all the way down, and then we could make coffee and hot chocolate and, you know, help the firemen a little bit more. And to make a long story short, they finally brought the fire under control. Pox was gutted. But I'm in a dilemma now because we're now approaching 7 o'clock or so, and it's still not a complete everybody go home type of thing, you know. But I want to get home and see the kids open the presents, and so, but I don't want to leave if the drugstore is still in danger, you know, so, and we didn't have any phone service, so I couldn't call my wife, and I didn't have a cell phone at that time, so, but whatever, she understood that, you know, I told her when I left, I'll get home as soon as possible, and whatever that amounts to. At that time, when I left the house, I thought the drugstore was on fire. But I look back on that and say, why? Why did I jump out of bed? Why did I say the drugstore was on fire? I don't know. It's something that has been in my mind. It's just one of those things. Maybe it was God's will. I have no idea. Huh? I can't give you a year. I don't know. But it was quite a thing. I'm going to change gears now, go to a more pleasant thing. I belong to Mount Hume Church, and the pastor came up to me and asked if I'd form a youth group. And I did, a high school kids, and we had a lot of fun. I mean, it's one of the fun things I've done in life in Howardtown. And once a year, I take them over to the cemetery and just cut out a piece of land there and say this. I gave them questions. They even get a lot of information from tombstones. And this is the first night we did this. And I divided them in teams of 3 or 4, and this one group went down to a tombstone, right? Why they chose that tombstone? Go back to the fire. Why did I say fire? But they went down to that tombstone, and they bent over to write something down, and a man jumped up behind the tombstone. It was this one of the girl's father there. He saw me. But that group could have went to any tombstone, but they went right to that tombstone for whatever reason. And we laughed about. And her and her father had it out when they got back home. But I have to tell you, we took a couple trips. We went to Niagara Falls for 2.5 days, and we went down to Williamsburg, Virginia for 2.5 days. Got other adults to go along. We drove. When we went to Niagara Falls, just a little thing, we had to go through customs. We called the church up there, and they said, yeah, we can have the church get here by 6 o'clock on Friday. We'll give you the key, and, you know, and we did. And it was a big church, you know, all kinds of things. And I think we ran all over that church. We had a great time. But we had to get through customs to get over to the Canadian side. We were on the American side. So there were the 2 cars ahead of us belonging to our group. They zipped right through. We come, the inspector comes in. Were you all born in the United States? And one came in the background and said, no, I was born in Germany. Oh my God. An hour and a half later, we're still at customs. His mother and dad were in the service, and he was born over in Germany. But that, I was almost frantic. I didn't know how. I didn't want to jump down the falls. But it was a great thing, you know. Talking about Williamsburg, and while I think of it, we had a borough manager in the town, in Howardtown by the name of Frank Force. We had a drainage problem at our store, and 2 or 3 borough managers before him just could not fix it. And Frank came up, studied the situation, he drilled some holes here and there and everywhere, and finally the thing was fixed. And I came to know Frank and have a lot of respect for him. Maybe just because of the friendship, but I think he was one of the finer borough managers we had in town. Charlie Luther is right there with him. But Nancy and I were vacationing in Williamsburg, not shortly, but a year or 2 after Frank went. Frank left Howardtown and went to Williamsburg. That's quite a jump, going from Howardtown down to Williamsburg. You know, not that Williamsburg is a metropolis, but there's a whole bunch of other situations in Williamsburg that doesn't even appear in Howardtown. And we're walking down the street, and I saw Town Hall over there. I said, well, I'm going to go over and see if Frank Force is in. course, my wife said, "Ah, come on, Bubba, just get well." I said, "We're here this close." So I went over to the secretary was there. I said, "Is Frank Forson?" She said, "He is, but he's in a meeting." And I said, "Oh, that's too bad." I said, "I'm from Hellertown." "Oh," she said, "if you're from Hellertown, just a minute." And she went in, she got him out of the meeting. And, "Hey, bud, how are you?" You know, and spent a minute maybe, and then went back. But I'm sure Frank Force, I don't know where Frank Force is today, but I had a lot of respect for that man. Ted Bernhardt, he owned Dairy Delight, am I right? Yeah. Well, he was on town council too at one time. And there was a need for a fire truck in town. And I guess he, in charge of the fire committee or whatever, went out and got bids on these different fire trucks, and Borough Council approved buying these fire trucks. And it was a beautiful looking thing, bigger than anything we ever had before. And so the first fire comes along, and it's so big you can't get around the corners. They call it, yeah, Big Bertha, that was the name of the fire truck. They call it Bernhardt's Folly, but I guess eventually you had to sell it, get rid of it. I mean, it just was no good. But nobody thought about getting around the corners. What a beautiful thing! Look at this. Whatever. Obviously, the Centennial was probably the greatest 2.5 years of my life. It was so much fun. And I'm not going to go into detail because I talked about that not so long ago in Hellertown, but it was a great time for everybody. I was in the store one day, and Howard Hess came in, and Howard Hess headed up the cemetery at the end of town. And he said, "Bud, I'd like to get you on a cemetery board." A cemetery board, what do they do? That's Siberian people, you know. But he said, "No, we have an opening, I'd like to get you there. I want you to come to the next meeting." So I did, and so I became a member of the cemetery board, and quite an elderly board. Actually very elderly. and I say that because what happened, Howard went on vacation, and he dropped over dead while he was on vacation. And he came in, suddenly, now we're without a leader. And, "Bud, would you take over the presidency of the cemetery?" Whoa, you know, I didn't know near what Howard had even forgotten, you know. And, so with Herb Weissel was a great, he was like my right hand, and he showed me the way, and I've been president of the cemetery, I don't know for how many years, but probably too many. It's a challenging job at times, and had one situation that probably took 2 years off my life, but that's another story for another day. People I met on the way, the very first one I have here is George Fritz Halfaker. Halfaker was football coach at Hellertown. He was, I mean, he handled that whole football program himself for 2 years. He had Leon Brown as assistant, but Leon didn't know football from a basketball. And, you know, and I'm not faulting Leon, but he was just there, "Okay, you guys, this is Joe, do it." You know, you don't know what, but Fritz and I became very close friends. I've been up to his house many times, and if you go down to his basement, the whole walls and the ceilings are all full of paper clippings of games that he coached or was in or what have you. Fritz is a suffering man right now. It's tough for him to get around. And I don't know, a year or two ago, the Saucon Valley Community Center honored me, and he came down to be part of the program. And I know it wasn't easy for him to be there, and it just meant a lot for me to have him there. He's a very special man, and actually Linda Halfaker sits in the back, his daughter, and but Fritz was he's right on the top of the list here. Mr. Illich was another one that superintendent of schools. There aren't many superintendent of schools that I just felt like I could go and talk to. I mean, you know, it's just you could be the lowest man on the totem pole, you could be the highest man, and he was always had an open office to anybody to talk to. He was a very special person. Roger Schaefer just passed away at 98 years old. Roger Schaefer just, he couldn't have an enemy in the world. He was just a nice guy. And that's probably the greatest compliment you can say is he was a nice guy, because he wouldn't hurt a fly. He did these buildings. He would take a picture of the American Legion. He'd make it out of paper and whatnot, and he closed it in glass, and it was really good. He did a lot. And he was on the cemetery board too, and every time I go someplace and he and his wife, probably to church supper, he and his wife were there, I said, Roger, his wife knew this was coming, where were you at the last meeting? You haven't been to the last 2 meetings, where were you? You were out with some other lady, weren't you? You know, and you have to know Roger, he's laughing, she's laughing, but he was a very special person. And her wife was another one. It wouldn't have been for her, I no way could have taken care of the cemetery or whatever it was that came along. I'm going back to Jeannie Reed. I said I would talk about Jeannie Reed. Sometimes the Lord just blesses me in ways that I'm not sure if these ever go, but Jeannie Reed came to work for me, work at the fountain at the store in her sophomore year. And at the end of the sophomore year, she came up to me and said, well, I'm going to have to quit because I applied for the American Field Service and I'm going to go over there for my junior year to study in Australia. I said, gee, couldn't you find me a place closer? Australia. So she said, but I would like to work when I come back from my senior year. I said, I'm sure I can give you some hours. We'll see what the situation is when you come back. And so she went over and we corresponded with letters back and forth. And she had a great time over there. She came back for her senior year. And when it came time for graduation, the family that she stayed with was going to come over and see her graduate from high school. And so she told me about that. She said, I'm going to have to leave the store before they come. I have to quit the store before they come because they're going to be here for a while. We want to take them down to Washington, D.C. and show them a couple of places. And, well, that'll be great, you know. Before they got here, there was a knock on their back door one day, and my wife answered with Jeannie Reed. Jeannie, come on in. He says, I got a problem. She says, my dad is down sick and will not be able to drive and take these people down to Washington and all over and show them a good time. And I didn't know what to do, and Dad said, why don't you see if Bud will do it for you? Well, we had the 2 kids at this point too, but my mom and Dad took care of them that time, and Mary Ann and Dick Acker might have been the ones that took care of them. Either way, the kids were taken care of, and we decided we would take them down to Washington. We'd be the chaperones. My mom and Dad took care of them. And we met the people right after graduation. Graduation was outdoors that day at the high school. And it was like bread and butter, just we melded together. It's like we knew them all our life. And we just had a good meeting. And then we took them down to Washington. And one of the things that always caused a lot of fun excitement, they don't tip. At that time, they didn't tip in Australia. I mean, you go for a dinner, you don't leave a tip, you know. And their older boy, who was Jeannie's age, I guess, he'd always pretend, he'd hang around, and whatever I had there, he'd pick it up and put it in his pocket. And so it got to be a real joke. But we just had a great time. For 10 days that we were here, it was awesome. And before they leave, they said, you got to come down to Australia. Oh, geez, Australia. I have a hard time getting to Binghamton. He says, now look, you come to Australia, you stay in our house, no cost for the meals, no cost for the lodging, no cost for this, no cost for that, just the airplane flight. And I can get you half price for that because he works for Qantas Airlines. That way he works for Qantas Airlines. Well, okay, Nancy and I talked about it, and I said, well, it's a long flight over there. I said to Nancy, why don't we stop off in Hawaii for 2 or 3 days on the way over? And we did that because it is, even from Hawaii, it's a long flight down there. You stop to Fiji Island, you don't get off the plane, you just stop. But anyhow, we got over to Australia, and we had a ball. Nancy's birthday was while we were there, and he took us to the country club. They had a big birthday cake, and all the people gathered around. It was just a great experience, you know. Had Jeannie not worked at the store, I wouldn't have, but those things would just happen, and I was fortunate to be part of it. I have nothing but great experiences growing up in Hellertown. I was a Little League umpire. I enjoyed umpiring. Somebody said, do high school games. After I left, after 46 years, I took a test. You have to take a test in order to be an umpire. I passed that. And I did high school games for 2 or 3 years. After I left the drugstore, I worked 5 years for Whale Apparatus on Front Street too, selling safety products and whatnot. But that wasn't near as much fun as being at the drugstore. I forgot to tell you that when I had the youth group, one of the things I had scheduled for one night was that we'd all go down to the drugstore because the drugstore closed on Sunday night. That's when we met. And we make ice cream Sundays, and, you know. And that was, you know, hey, take me to your leader, let's go, you know. And so we went down there, and before anybody dipped in anything, I said, here's the rule. Take all you want, eat all that you take. You know, I don't want somebody to take 3 dips of ice cream, and then we throw 1.5 of the dips away, you know. I'd rather you take 1 dip, you're still hungry, come back and get a 2nd dip. Well, they all understood that. Along came Pete Nicolay. Now, he's the owner of Ackroyd Hardware in Belleville. And I'm watching him. 1 dip vanilla, 1 dip chocolate, 1 dip strawberry, 1 dip green cherry, 1 dip something, 5 dips of ice cream, peanuts, cherries, chocolate syrup, whipped cream. All the whipped cream. He ate the whole thing. Unbelievable. I wasn't going to say anything because I already gave him the lecture, you know, and he ate the whole thing. Along the way, you know, the doctors we had in town, I had a special respect for all of them, and I don't know, I guess, am I running late or you? Well, I just go through the doctors who were in town and give you a little resume of how I can know. Dr. Dyer was up at the end of town, across from Crossroads, his office was. And Dr. Dyer was big into cars. He loved cars. I think he belonged to the Springtown Motor Club or whatever it was. They had this hill climb that went up there. I went down to see it a couple of times. And I think he drove his wife nuts with these things. And his little daughter was in the living room one day. Dr. Dyer told me this story. He says, you go tell Mommy I'm going to buy a Cadillac. So she goes and tells his mom that. And then she comes running back. And Mom says, if you buy another Cadillac, she's going to Cadillac you. She said. And Dr. Way, he at one time was right across the street from the store where your office is now. Dr. Way was in there. He come over at noontime, get a 6-pack of those Lay's crackers and a soda, and the help would always harass him. He came in, he liked being harassed, so he came in there, and then he moved out to Walnut Street. And I remember Teddy Casilio saying that it was during a flu epidemic, and it was really bad. She called him for an appointment. She called him about 10:30 at night. He said, I can take you at 3 o'clock in the morning if you want to. And she went at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he took it. He was booked up. I mean, he was as dedicated as they come. And he is somewhere, not in town anymore, obviously, but when he heard they were closing, he called in and said, wish us the best, and what have you. And I thought that was pretty nice. Dr. Philip Beck was Mr. Speed. Every prescription he wrote for it, and this won't mean nothing to you, 1 QIDACMHS. That means 1 pill 4 times a day before meals and at bedtime. And I think no matter if it weren't supposed to be taken that way, that's the way he wrote for it. But he had a big practice, and he was Dr. Brentholz. Now, the kids picked on him because he was a school doctor. He gave all the athletes their physicals and whatnot. And a lot of guys call him a horse doctor, you know. But one snowy day, and the snow was deep, I was in the drugstore and I see Dr. Brentholz walking down with his medical kit, making a house call in the snow. And from that moment on, I had not that I didn't respect him before, but had a lot of respect for him at that moment. And there was Dr. Busick at the end of town. Dr. Busick always kidded me that when we had the Centennial, he wasn't alive when we finally did have it. He wanted to be on the white horse leading the parade, and that was always his thing. Dr. Busick was very kind to Nancy and I. He attended to our boys and never charged us a thing the whole time. We were there a good number of times. But he died a very unhappy man, and got caught on a few drugs, and it's unfortunate, but he was really a great guy. That's pretty much what I have written down here and said here. I know I probably overstayed my visit. I look at this and I think God has treated me very, very well. I mean, I've been blessed. I'm a lucky man, and I thank you all for listening. I grew up, I'll just go through this. In our highlight of having sidewalk sales and everything, these were the number of businesses. Allentown doesn't have any retail businesses in town anymore. But just going down this list, Yeager's Farmies, Carson's Hardware, Breezy TV, Staley's Mint Shop, Nicholas 5 and 10, Prospect Drugstore, Huff's Ford Sale, Stern's Market, Eagle Hotel, Ortwines, Helldown Bakery, Harper's Beverage, Roucher's Hardware, Fry Shoe Store, Verna's Lady Shop, 2 bowling alleys, Gutshall Chevrolet, IGA Store, Saucon Theater, Town Tavern, Cemetery, Cox Hotel, and many that I missed. Out of all those that I read, Yeager's, Crossroads, and Cemetery are only 3 that are still in operation. I mean, there's other stores in this place, yeah.
I just wanted to comment that we will never forget your umpiring.